Welcome to Atlantis University. We're located at 1011 Sunnybrook Road, Miami, and we're coming directly at you from Atlantis Studios. With that, I'd like to really give everybody a warm welcome. And today we have a very special topic, a very important topic, because we're talking healthcare management. As all of you know, especially after the pandemic, the importance of the health services is going through the roof. So it's great opportunities. My name is Juan Cruz Torres. I'm the Vice President and Director of Admissions for Atlantis University. And today, we also have a very important guest. We're talking with Dr. Kravetz, which is not only one of our professors, but a leading professor within the healthcare management. And he is going to be talking specifically about our programs and some of the benefits, because he has a tremendous deal of experience, not only as a professor, but also in the field. So with that, let me get started so that we can go into this presentation that we got for you guys today. One of the things that is critical about the medical and the health services is being a manager, because you are, in essence, the person that is the leader of many organizations, or at least departments within the different organizations. And for all of us, it's important to do the research. When we study, when we go to school, the first question we ask ourselves is, why? What is the purpose? What's the objective? What is the goal? And when people go into the health field, most of them do it because it's not just an opportunity for employment, but because they really appreciate the service they provide while helping others. In addition to that, it's important to know that you are going to be properly compensated. And that's important. All of us, have responsibilities, and we want to have the best opportunity to grow within our field. Not only salaries, but we're talking about opportunity for growth as far as the different opportunities for promotions. Before I continue, Dr. Kravetz, thank you for being here with us today. Can you please give us a little bit about your background and also your interactions and work with Atlantis University, and also your accomplishment in the medical field?
Yes, I've been. I have 2 degrees. I'm a medical doctor. I have a master's in business administration, and I have been working on both fields, and I've been teaching both fields through my career. It's a pleasure to be part of the Atlantis University faculty. The opportunities for students to expand your career, and as Mr. Cruz mentioned, is one of the hottest job careers going on now. So it's a pleasure being part of this process. I have been working as a physician. I have been working as a physician for many years. I was basically focusing on family practice. In my career, I've been teaching all kinds of subjects for nursing programs and healthcare administration. Very interesting career that is a great opportunity for students to not only to become more professional prepared, but also the potential of earning a very decent salary. It's as Mr. Cruz mentioned, it's amazing. The potential is unbelievable.
Dr. Kravetz, you mentioned something that is of particular importance to me, and that is, how important is it for professors to be able to bring into the classroom the experience in the field they're teaching? For example, in your case, being a medical doctor with a master's also in business, how important do you think it is, that experience, when you actually interact and when you actually teach students, that experience you have?
Yes, it's very important, because I can see both sides of the coin, and sometimes when you're focusing on a healthcare administration, and you basically learn all the tools of a general administrator in any field, any company, any enterprise. But when you are also knowledgeable about medicine, so it's easier for me to expand the knowledge for our students, so they not only see the administration part of the healthcare administration, but they also know that when I'm focusing on medical practice and the interaction of medical subjects and in a hospital, a clinic, or any other healthcare organization, I'm pretty aware of all those subjects, and I feel very confident connecting both fields. So I think it's a tremendous value for the students.
Thank you very much. And I think, again, that's one of the biggest benefits that you have when you are actually being instructed by professionals that are not only prepared academically, but they also have the practice and the experience in the field that you're actually studying. So thank you, Dr. Kravetz. So one of the things that you guys can see here is what we call the scoreboard. And we have 8.1, which is for employment out of a 10. And when we're talking about the best jobs, we're talking about in business, best jobs, number one in the healthcare industry. We're talking about top number 4 in the 100 best jobs. And also, we're talking about STEM. For those of you who are in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, these are the STEM. These are some of the most sought after jobs, opportunities for the country. And it's not just in the United States, but also internationally. We're going to be looking at some numbers and what does that mean? For example, when we look at the ranking and we're talking about the medical and health services manager, this is an overview of what we're talking about. We're talking about salary. So you're sitting about the top 8.1%. When we're talking about job, we're talking about the opportunity in the job market. You're talking about 8%. Future growth, 9%. We're talking about annual growth. The stress level, very low at a 4%, and work-life balance at a 6%. So these are numbers that for the average person may not be a lot, but for you who are in the field, understand the numbers, and this is the meaning of why going after an education in healthcare is important. What kind of feedback can you give me, and the reason why these rankings are so high for the medical and health services managers?
So this is an amazing opportunity. This career is growing so fast, and the tools and the knowledge that we have right now, it's not only very important, but also we always focusing, taking that in consideration, that the students are then being prepared in that field to learn not only concepts or to know about what's going on with the healthcare administration or practices in administration, but how to apply them to the real world, practicing and user critical thinking in the field. So when they go to the real world, they are not going to feel embarrassed or shy how to practice. They are going to be already ready, if I can say that word, to face any practical situation in the healthcare administration in any field.
Now, we're going to go into a little bit more details in the next slide that we have here. And this is in particular, when we're talking about the salary range, because we know compensation is very, very important, especially with today's economy and all the inflation. Obviously, everybody is looking for opportunities to do better financially. And the Healthcare Services Administration, it provides a tremendous opportunity. So we're talking about a medium salary of $104,280. And then we go to the right where it's high at $139,650. And then what we're considered to be on the lower at $78,820. What can you tell me about these salaries? Who is the person that normally make this type of salary?
Yeah, well, this is because this is as an average of healthcare administration. Usually, these kind of salaries are achieved by, could be achieved by any person who is knowledgeable in healthcare administration. But if if they have the opportunity to go into a master's program, for example, that those salaries are very, very achievable. I mean, nowadays there's a lot of competition. There are governmental and private institutions are searching, are looking forward. There's like a desire to hire so many professionals in healthcare administration, because this is a demanding position, and whoever is in this position, believe me, the potential is beyond the imagination. Those salaries this is just a starting salaries. The potential is amazing.
One thing that is important that I like for you to also comment and expand a little bit is that when we're talking about medical health service managers, we're not talking only about one position, because within hospitals they have different departments. They have all sorts of different opportunities to work with. So you may have a top manager for a facility for a hospital, but in addition to that, you have department heads, you have HR, you have information technology. I mean, this spans in many different areas. So within a hospital, what would you say would be where the masters in healthcare management would actually help those individuals into those different positions?
Yes. So besides the other positions that they are, besides the healthcare administration of the whole institution, they are the head of healthcare administration for nursing programs, for respiratory therapies, for a radiology department, for all specialties, intensive therapy, pediatrics, and there's always a correlation between the medical issues that are going on in the hospital and the way that you administer them. It seems you take it for granted. Like someone has to be in charge of. You know how to, for example, in the nursing department, you are in surgical department, and you know how to basically assist in a surgery. But what all the organization? How did you get these materials for the surgeon? What is the best operation of managing that surgical procedure? This is just an example. I want to go at a micro level to see even at that position, there is a person responsible and needed for that organization, that all the planning and the organization and the control and the execution of those tasks within the hospitals are also divided, and they need people in healthcare administration, not only the general healthcare administration, but there are multiple positions within the hospital, and not only that, there are also a lot of governmental positions in which different governmental programs are expanding, and they need always in different fields healthcare administration.
The other thing is that we're talking about hospitals, but they're also clinics. They're also insurance companies. There's just a lot of opportunities for managers, and they're needed in all those different locations, different places. And essentially, the next one also, we talk specifically on the medical and health services managers, other management occupations, and then total all occupations. So this gives you a range that is really realistic for me, in the sense that we know that average 101, which is pretty much consistent what we just saw. The difference is that these statistics are actually coming out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but they're close to what we're talking about. The managers, other management, which are the positions we're talking about, like the medical manager for surgical or pediatric or different ones. So those are other type of managerial or management positions. But when we're talking about all occupations, now we're talking about medical health services administration, and we're talking about a starting salary of $45,760. And for people that graduate only with a bachelor's or an associate's degree, that's where a lot of them are going to be. But when you get now, we're talking about management occupations. Look at the difference in which it's almost double And in fact, top managers more than double what the average person in the field is making. What do you attribute the reason for the difference in between the salaries?
Yeah, a very good question. And basically, the window of opportunities in the marketplace for people that they are specialized in that field. I mean, that they have been, they have this additional training in the master's program. All the managerial and healthcare administration tools that the students are provided with, and it expands the potential of those students. What happened is that the institutions that they are looking for someone, of course, they are knowledgeable, they have the possibility to make that salary. But once you have go to a master's level position, you have much more doors open, and doctors and hospitals and clinics, they are basically searching for more capacitated person to manage delicate issues, because this is each one of these administrators, they're going to produce money for the clinic, for the hospital. So it's win-win for everyone. You have perfect knowledge, you are super specialized in that area, you are going to produce for that hospital or clinic. It's good for the clinic, for the hospital, but also it's good for you, for your salary. So you can see the difference. That's why it's a double salary, because the marketplace opportunities, they double or triple.
No, and that's precisely my point, that as you go into a field, your education continues, your education don't stop, and as you aspire to move into positions of leadership, along with the leadership, you also have to have not only the knowledge, but you have to have the capacity and all of the different types of specializations that you're going to need to give you the competencies so you can then work within this specialist. And we're talking about working with, the highest you can get in any field, which is medical doctors. And you have to have them as managers. And many of these managers have many of doctors that they work with. So that's very critical, which in reality also, we're going into the next one, which they're sort of attached. When we're talking about medical and health services managers growth potential, I mean, if we look at this statistically, within the next 10 years, basically from 2020 to 2030, the field is expected to grow at a 32% rate, which is basically a third within those years. And anybody who works in industry understand that that's a huge potential for growth that they're projecting, which means more employment opportunities. And when we look at the occupations, the 9%, and total occupations 8%, and that's annual growth. So that's tremendous as far as the need that we have in the medical field for managers. Can you expand on how important and how much is the need to specialize medical managers to go into these positions?
Right, the industry is growing, and we need more labor force in that department. And as you can see here, those percentages are beyond many other fields that you can imagine. I mean, usually you don't see that percentage grow.
No, it is. It's a huge jump. It's a huge jump. And
1%, 2% probably. 3-4%, but you will see this percentage is impressive. So it takes a good leader. We're trying to basically provide these future healthcare administrators, leaders. You have these skills to be a leader, not only to know what you are doing and to take care of the administrative part, but how can you expand that? How can you make that clinic, that hospital, more productive? That it's going to be new ideas, innovations. The industry is growing so fast. Just imagine how the technology medical technology advanced in the past 10 to 20 years. nothing that comparable with the last 100 years. So it's expanding. The more that technology expands, the more need for innovation and for new leaders in the healthcare administration to take care of those issues.
And that's absolutely right. And then we have different factors. For example, I know that COVID accelerated the need for medical personnel and managers. In addition to that, our population continues to increase, and we have a very large aging population. As everybody knows, as we age, we need more care than normally do because of health reasons. So it's definitely something that it projects out, and they take into consideration this and many other factors. And the only thing that we can see is a tremendous growth potential in employment opportunity as well as salaries.
Right, and also, the insurance world is growing as and more so after COVID. And laboratories they have expanded completely to a different level, and so someone has to take care of the administration of those places, right? So there we are. So insurance is something that I don't want to leave behind is the pharmacology industry.
Oh, that's another one.
Pharmacology industry is another one which is expanding so fast, and that's another. That's what you see those percentages, because there's a hunger to grow, and they need professionals to take care of those.
Which just leads me to the next slide, which is how our masters in healthcare management can help you advance in your career. And so in this particular area, I think this is of special interest to the people that we have with us today, because many of them are looking to either grow promotions as far as their career, because many of them have degree in nursing or their practice in the healthcare industry, but also within the Masters of Healthcare Management, how this program is going to expand their knowledge and expertise. And in the next slide, we have three areas that I would like for you to give us your input on these three particular points. Can you comment on the intensive training, develop? Go ahead.
Yes, well, it's very, very interesting area, on how can you reflect everything that you have learned and put it into these. It's not only to learn, but we are focusing on an intensive training, not only in the theories but in practices. You have to be ready to go to the next level, to real issues, to innovation, to expanding, and this there's always a continuous career challenge in which the more training and the more potential you have in your position, that it's going to basically get you into the labor force much easier. You need intensive training, and also practice. This is a key element in the healthcare industry, not only as in the local areas, as you can see and read perfectly in this slide, but also in the global health environment. So we are basically we start locally, nationally, also in different countries that they are expanding the healthcare administration, and they are known globally because of their masters in that field. But there is potential there, not only at the local level, but also at the global health level, working for different institutions to create innovation, not only for your country, but for other countries. So this is a potential that is beyond our imagination. Develop the necessary strengths to be a leader. This is a very, very important issue, and this is one of the most delicate subjects we take during this program. To not only someone to know what they are doing as an average person, but to be leaders in innovating and managing different kinds of departments, different clinics, different hospitalization, and to be a good leader. A good leader, sometimes, as I explain to many of my students, because everyone has the idea that manager and leader is the same thing. There are a lot of managers that they don't know how to be leaders. We're trying. The best thing is to be a manager, but to be a leader, and this is our focus, right? How to be a leader in the healthcare administration, and how to take the let's say the ship to a different regions in the world and to be successful. The training of course, this is the basic of administration, to plan, organize, lead, control, and evaluate initiatives to improve the quality of medical services. As we go on, and more so after COVID, more and more plans, expansion plans, and developing in healthcare has improved significantly. And one thing that I would like to remark, and make something very important that we sometimes take for granted. But not only that you know how to plan, to organize, you have to execute that. You have to know how to lead that project or that department into the real practice and to put it into action, and also to control it, to see that everything that you have done and everything that you have said it is being going on perfectly the way that you plan. How to control, because sometimes without the control, we are sometimes as a industry we might have a challenge in certain areas, but if you are a leader and you control any inconvenience that goes through the line of planification, you can solve any problem with great achievements for the industry.
Very good. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Was a very good description and definition of what it is that we do and what makes a difference for the Masters in Healthcare Management. One thing that is also important is when we're talking about how this program is actually developed and what is the description of the program. Can you give us in some information basically on the different courses that they're taking and how this program is laid out?
Right. Yes. So we have the basics of management. Of course, you need to know the basics of managing, but also how to apply to different areas. And basically, you have to know, first of all, to know how to be a good leader. We make a lot of emphasis on how to be good leaders. A lot of training in the direction to be a good leader. The organizational behavior is an amazing way to get industry, the healthcare industry, to a next level. So you have to know how to change sometimes the organizational culture, and by changing the organizational culture, you can change the production and the remuneration for that institution. Of course, you have to be trained in human resources, the labor force, how to train people, how to select the best training people to be working for your healthcare administration. Of course, you need to be masters also in financial decision making, because you can have all these human resources, but if you don't rely on, you are not matching that with the financial area of your institution, so that will not work. So they go hand to hand. This is a connection between healthcare resources, human resources, and financial resources to make a decision making. We emphasize. I'm glad that I have this slide there, that little square within this slide, which is very, very important. Of healthcare ethics, we make a lot of emphasis. Ethics is a key element, and we touch that issue, and we take it very seriously. Ethics at all levels in any department. So a manager or leader can be well prepared, but this is an essential ingredient in the training. ethics, how to become a reliable person, an honest person, and how in the short and in the long term they're going to make that institution profitable, and the image of that institution, the name of that institution will be always remembered. And this is a very, very important fact. Once you know all these areas, there is a possibility that you are going to be working for the community, not only for that particular area. So we train also people how to be part of the community. Everything that you have been doing for your local institution, how to translate that into community health, and of course, the technology. The more technology, the most advanced technology, and if you are catching up with the new technology, you are going to be ready to work basically in any potential healthcare area. So technical and all these technical courses are helping you become a more competitive person. There are many areas and many organizations which they have been well-trained personnel, but lacking the new technology, not expanding on technology, that's in the long term will not work. So we make emphasis in everything, the present, in the short term, and then the long term. We want to have leaders that are going to be able to innovate and to make this industry the best in the labor force.
On the final research project, what are normally the requirements that the students are asked to complete this project?
Right. So they have to basically they are to show everything that they have been learning in the program. How can take it to a different level, to the last level, right? You have to research. You have to be having a perfect critical thinking in how you can mix everything that the student has learned, everything that has been practiced, into a research project, which is there's no limit for all the innovation and different final research projects that are there, and the potential and the free choice that we give to the students sometimes to choose programs, to invent, to innovate that program. So sometimes should not be like a research for a particular project that I have in mind, but how can they do a research project that you never know. I said to my students, never underestimate the power of the mind. You might change the whole industry, you might change your institution, you might change the community, and you're going to be a potential brain for the future success of the healthcare administration. So this is basically what I want to explain.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Kravetz. I think that the information you've given us in the details is something that is critical for anyone who is thinking of going into the Masters in Healthcare Management, because these are the skills that are thought to give you the competencies necessary to go out there and practice and work and become a valuable manager that is going to improve whatever job opportunity you have. One of the things that's really important, and I'm asked all the time, if I want to go into this program or if I want to enroll within the institution, what are the steps that I really need? And these steps are extremely important, and it is a process. And as a process, we have things that we want to accomplish. When we conduct an interview, which is mandatory, that means that one of our admissions advisors will have an opportunity to have a conversation in which they will ask you several questions to determine what is the interest that you actually have in a program, what are your needs, what is the purpose, your goal, and then from there they will give you information as to how this program can help you achieve your goals. And it also, the second part of it is that we want to get to know you. We want to know what it is that drives you. What's the reason that you are motivated to do these programs, and how we as an institution can be a part of your journey towards your career. And that is a huge, an incredible responsibility for us. Just the fact that we know that we can help and assist other people build their careers so they can be very successful. On the next step, once you have an interview and you're able to get all the information regarding the program, in addition to that, the cost and everything else, then the next step is to submit all the documentation that you need. Like everything else, until you complete the administrative process, you cannot move on. In this process, we will assist you. We will show you in many cases when you have any kind of issues or you don't understand something in the application. We work with you to make sure that you do the documentations that you're required to submit. And once your file is complete, all your questions have been answered, then the next step is to get you through the financial aid process. Like anything else, financial aid simply means how are you going to be able to afford your education? And for that, having this interview and this appointment with the financial aid director or one of the assistants from financial aid, they're going to be able to give you the options that we have, whether you are a citizen or a resident of the United States and you're qualified to apply and participate within the U.S. federal government financial aid programs, other different types of government incentive and applications that you can go through, or if you are an international student, what are your needs? What do you need to do so that you can receive the application for your visa, a student visa, which is known as an I-20. And so helping you understand the process to that and also the costs that are involved and how you're going to be able to do that. So financially will help you make sure that you have a different type of payment plan, whether it's using different organizations, government agencies, or if the person is an international student, or if they decide that they want to go ahead and pay out of their pocket, financially will clear that out for you. Once you do that, the next step now is to register you in the institution. In other words, to be able to place you within the course and the program that you are going to be learning throughout the process. And ultimately, before you get your class start, one of the things that we do is that we have a two-part orientation. One of the things that we do is to make sure that you receive a technical orientation on how our platform is used. And what I mean by platform is whether you are a student that are physically attending Atlantis University or if you are doing online classes, because we offer to all of you the opportunity to study on campus, distance education online. We also can teach the programs English and Spanish. Normally, all the courses within the institution in campus are taught in English, but you have the option to do it Spanish or English online. And so you need to receive an orientation on how you can use the platform and to be able to access all the different tools available to you, research, a library, the opportunity to upload your programs, review your grades, to be able to see the syllabus for the program so you know exactly what's coming as far as assignments and when they're due. And once you do that, you receive another orientation that has to do more with rules and regulations within the institution so you can be in compliance. And then you're ready to start classes. And so this is a process that is not as complicated as it sounds. It's actually relatively simple, and we assist you throughout the entire process. So you're not going to feel that you are alone at any time, because whether you're here at the institution going through the process or you're doing it online, you'd always be there to assist you. So Professor Kravetz, I don't know if you would like to comment on this area, but if you do, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Cruz. Yes, this is very important for the students to know that they are never alone. There's always someone in whatever area they need assistance. We're providing that, and I've been very proud to be helping and assisting students that they're in the end they have basically been motivating me, because many great comments saying, something, everywhere you go, you are by yourself, you have to figure out everything. you have made our lives so easier, because whatever problem it is, you can direct us always to the perfect person that they are going to assist you and take care of you. And I never felt alone, and this is a great sensation, feeling that you are always supported, and we're always doing our best to make sure that your career and your program, through all your program, you are going to be getting the best of the best with the most professional individuals and staff that we have in the university. I'm very proud to be part of it.
Thank you, Dr. Kravetz. I think that's one of the things that makes a difference in the way that we do business compared to other institutions. Before I continue, I want all of you to know that within this conference, you have the opportunity to actually text information. You can go ahead and send any questions that you may have to us. We have people standing by. We can reply to your text, or before the end, we can also answer some of your questions. But it would be really important for you guys who are listening out there, and you may have some questions. You may have some different types of information that you need specifically to you, and you can share it, and this way we can reply to any of the questions that you may have, and we can do that throughout the whole presentation. So we ask you to please go ahead, write down the questions, send it to us so that you don't forget them, and we can reply to you throughout the actual presentation. So thank you for everybody. With that, we're getting ready to conclude, but before I go, I want to thank every one of you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you, to have you share this time with us. And I cannot emphasize how important right now the healthcare industry. In fact, when you guys take a look at most governments here in the United States, the biggest part of our national budget is actually invested in healthcare management. If you take a look at the amount of percentage-wise dollars that are spent in the United States, almost 35% is actually used directly for the health of the nation. And I'm quite sure that in many of your countries, you have similar numbers, if not higher than that, because the health of a country is extremely important. So when we talk about why getting a master's in healthcare management, there are many reasons. Number one, personal reasons. There's a lot of people who they want to help others, and this is a great way of doing it. Opportunity for employment, which is right now extremely important, and also compensation. In addition to that, quality of life and the opportunity for you to have a work environment that is professional, and you can make a difference in people's lives. So, Dr. Kravetz, I'm going to ask you if you have, in closing, something that you want to add.
Yeah, just success to everyone, and this is a great university, and the experience that you'll have, it's going to be beyond your imagination. So I would like to thank Mr. Cruz, that has been so professional in explaining every single detail, and it has been my pleasure to assist you, and I always be in a position to assist you and take care of you whenever you need.
Thank you, Dr. Kravetz. With that, we're going to thank you and say goodbye to you. Take care. Have a great day. Thank you.